Hello, Ana. How are you?
Hola Iris, ¿cómo
¿Cómo
estás?
estás? Qué gusto verte, Ana. Gracias por acompañarnos en After Hours Real Estate. El día de hoy, ya sé que todos estamos en Spring Break, ¿verdad? Pero el día de hoy vamos a hablar de condos. Condos, bueno, los condos pueden ser segunda casa o también puede ser una inversión y también puede ser no solamente en la Isla del Padre, puede ser un condominio que compres en la ciudad, ¿correcto?
Para
Ok.
vivir, o sea, también son primarios, o sea, si quieres vivir ahí también puedes vivir.
También puedes hacerlo como primario, no necesariamente va a ser una segunda casa como inversión.
Ujú.
Entonces, hoy vamos a hablar un poquito de todo. Si tienen alguna pregunta específica, por favor, mándenos un mensajito. Estamos en vivo aquí en After Hours Real Estate y estamos con Ana Cabrales, Cabrales Mortgage, y Iris Heredia, Broker Owner con Momentum Realty. Así que si tienen alguna pregunta, háganoslo saber. Anita, ¿en inglés o en español?
Como
Tú dime.
quieras.
¿Le vamos
¿Español
a
si
cambiar a
quieres?
inglés? No, le vamos a
¿Inglés?
cambiar a inglés porque la vez
Okay,
pasada.
okay, okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
everybody's at spring break at Padre Island and they're probably looking at a lot of condos.
Exactly. If you're over there with your family, I'm pretty sure you're at the beach or wherever you're at. I'm pretty sure that you live close to the water, to the Gulf of Mexico, like we all do. Everybody's, well, a lot of people goal will be sometime, right? Whenever you have money to invest to buy a property as an investment property in the island, right? Maybe you can use it over the weekends. Maybe you can rent it and make some money at the same time that you're the owner. And you can also say this week, for example, spring break week, I'm going to use it for me and my family. So I won't rent it. But the rest of the year, you can rent it, right? So,
If it's a vacation, a
mhm.
condo, the guideline says that you need to be able to occupy it at least portion of the year. So I
Oh,
guess you need to be able, you cannot have it rented like the entire year.
okay.
If
And what
it's
is the
investment, yeah, you can rent
uh,
it all you want.
you talk about it, Anita. Tell
Mhm.
us when is the portion that how long would it be and when it applies and when it doesn't. So Anita's gonna be talking to us about that. So you have any questions, let us know.
So
Anna.
so condos are different from houses or townhomes, that in the way that besides the borrower getting approved, we also have to get the homeowner association approved. And a lot of people don't know that. So I have had instances where the buyer is approved, good to go, but the association fails.
Yes.
So whenever you give 5% down on a condo, we have to do a full review of the HOA. We ask them to fill out a questionnaire, a lot of questions about the HOA, like for example, how many units are there in the association, how many people live in the association, how many are vacation homes, how many are investments, if the association lends itself for short-term rentals like Airbnb, Zillow, stuff like that. No, no, not Zillow, but Airbnb and
Be on my way.
On the
There's
way, all those. They also ask how much insurance the HOA has,
mm,
making sure that they have sufficient insurance in case something happens to the building that they can rebuild it. They
mhm.
also ask how many people are delinquent on their dues. They ask how much reserves the HOA has in their budget. They have to be reserving a certain amount of money every year. So if the HOA doesn't meet some of those criteria, then it may not pass.
I
Uh,
see.
if the HOA is in litigation, if they're being sued by a party, we need, usually you don't want to see that, but if you see it, we have to investigate what's going on. Is it something related to safety? Did somebody die? Is there structural issues with the building? If it's because somebody's being sued because of something health wise, then
Mm.
we won't be able to do the loan. But if it's a litigation because of HOA dues or something else, and it's covered by insurance or it's covered by reserves, then we're okay.
Now let
Uh,
me ask you, Anna. So this questionnaire of the HOA, it applies in all of the condos, the ones that are obviously on an HOA association, right? I
yes.
mean, it can
Well,
be in a,
usually all condos have an HOA, so yes. So there's three types of approval. One is a full approval when you give 5% down. We usually don't want to do those because a lot of them fail.
Uh,
Then there's a limited review. A limited review, it's a shorter questionnaire, less questions to ask and answer. And that's when a customer gives 10% down. And then the other type of approval is when those two, the full and the limited, don't pass, they fail. The property can be used for Airbnb.
mm,
Those are called condo tails. Like they're condos, but they operate like hotels. So
okay.
those are not warrantable. We cannot lend with traditional financing. So in that case, they have to go through a non-warrantable loan, which
Mm,
is typically like almost like an investor loan. Usually done. I think there's a credit union that does them in the valley
yes,
in
yes.
the island. So they don't question the HOA as much because you're going through a different type of loan. You require a higher down payment, usually a higher interest rate, but then that's the only way to get it. If the HOA doesn't pass either the full or the limited review, you have to go through a non-warrantable loan.
Okay. Now, how often in your experience you find out that they are non-warrantable?
So for example, in the island, it's getting to be more and more common,
Yes,
especially in the ones that have like 100 units, a
yes.
lot of units. Why? Because the we have like what's called a condo desk. Basically, it's a department that reviews condos. So
Mm.
what they do is they Google. So they
Uh,
like, let's say it's called Las Brisas condominium. They're
yes.
gonna they're gonna Google Las Brisas condominium short-term rental. So
Uh,
then if I'm buying unit A or unit one, but then my neighbor in unit 50 and my neighbor in unit 48 and another one are renting them an Airbnb and they're putting Las Brisas condominiums, then they're gonna say, okay, this is a transient, this is a people that come and go, this is a condo hotel, we cannot warrant it. So that usually happens like in big complexes. But if you're buying a condo at the island where there's maybe 6 units, 5 units, 10 units, and they're not listed, if you cannot find them in Airbnb or HomeAway, then usually those pass.
now, Anna, don't the HOA from those, I mean, from those places, from those condos, don't they have a rule where they tell the owners not to put those condos in Airbnb or in
I
HomeAway?
guess because they know the trouble that it causes.
Mm,
And then there's some condos, I know here in McAllen, for example, where they don't allow you to do short-term rentals because they don't want like foreign people in their complex. They want people that are live there and they're gonna take care of it. They don't want strangers. So there's a lot of restrictions, but it depends on the complex.
And I'm thinking the owner, more than likely, probably they just list them in Airbnb without asking,
Mhm.
right? And then that's why they become registered, and
Yeah.
it affect us because once you're promoting or you're trying to give them the loan, it might show that it was an Airbnb, even
Yeah.
though HOA doesn't allow it. But if the owner went and did it, now
Yeah.
we have.
Well, in that case, we would get clarification from the HOA that they don't allow it, and then hopefully the thing that we find online is expired or old, then that can pass. We
Okay.
just need explanation. But if it's actively being represented as a short-term rental, then usually you would have to go through a non-warrantable loan.
Warrantable loan.
Mhm. So
And
the
what
the
does non-warrantable loan means? I'm pretty sure
that it,
everybody.
that it doesn't follow Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines. So
Mm,
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not guaranteeing the loan, so I guess they have to go through basically
conventional.
private
It's,
investors. Uh-huh.
it's like an investor thing where you will have to put a little more money than the 5%, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
5%.
So
Okay.
right now I have one condo that I'm doing, and it's in McAllen, and the person wants to buy it as a primary home. And the problem that I'm encountering is that the HOA is not cooperating with me, and that's the problem.
How
Because,
difficult.
like, I send them the questionnaire, and then I send it again, then I called, and then I sent it. Then they sent it back. They filled it out incorrect, so I had to send it. And it's basically a yes and no answer. So it's not like you can go wrong, but and then send back. They're in litigation, so then I'm like, I need more information, and they're like, talk to the attorney. I'm like, what
Oh,
attorney? Your attorney, the plaintiff's attorney. Uh,
who?
who's the attorney? I'm like, can I have a contact information? And I requested it 3 times. I called again today. I requested it after I called and I spoke to somebody, and I still have not gotten the information. So then I had to go to county records, and I was able to pull that they're being sued by a person. So now I'm trying to dig information myself to make the story. But that's why it like sometimes the seller thinks I'm just gonna sell my condo, but they don't realize if your HOA doesn't cooperate,
Mm-hmm.
you will have issues. So
Um,
then it's a lot of educating, I guess, the HOAs of what it means, the
mhm.
headache that it causes a new buyer if they don't provide the info.
Yes.
So
And to the seller
to
also.
yeah,
Mhm.
to the
And
sellers.
if you think about it, I mean, there's nothing beneficial for an HOA to make it difficult. I
No,
mean,
it's just that they don't know. They're like, I already responded. I'm like, yes, but I need more info. I'm like, and I explained my job.
mhm,
I'm a loan officer. I take the information, but then
mhm.
I had to hand it off to somebody else to review. They approve the information. So it needs to make sense to me. Like if you just tell me over the phone, I need it in writing so that I can show it to my underwriter. So I have to educate them as to what's needed and why it's needed. And so I'm working, but it's usually by now I should have underwriter approval, and I have a conditional, but I'm getting appraisal today, and I still don't have the HOA info. So it's just
Oh,
so that's the only thing. Whenever you're, I guess, thinking of buying or selling, talk to your HOA person. Let them know that there's gonna be that you're going through financing if you need a mortgage, and that they will be contacting you, and just to be on the lookout for the phone call or the email, and just to cooperate. If there's any questions, reach back, ask,
mm.
just to make it as fast as possible. There's a lot
Anita,
of advantages of living in a condo.
oh yes. So Anita, for our viewers that are interested in investing, right? I mean, right now everybody's interested in either buying a home, selling a house, or they're thinking, oh, I have this money saved, but I would like to invest it into a property, either a second home, a condo, the island. I don't know. So
There's a
then
lot of condos by the La Plaza Mall.
but the Plaza Mall, yes, I know which one. So then
Mhm.
there's a lot of properties. So then what would be the, let's say, the four things they should be prepared, right? I mean, to basically to get a loan approved, right? So would that be one of them, the 5% to 10%?
I would say 10 makes it easier to get approved than 5 for
Okay.
sure,
10% that will be down payment based on the value of the condo,
based
correct?
on the sales price.
Based on the sales price. Okay. So based on the sales price. So then that will be 10%, which is the main thing that you need to do. And I have a lot of people calling me recently telling me, I do have the money, right? The only thing that I am listening constantly is my credit is a little low, right? I mean, I'm at 560. So then I'm thinking, well, you know,
So for convention condos are gonna go conventional, not FHA. I'll tell you why. So the minimum would be a 620 credit score
okay,
on
six.
conventional. FHA also has condos, but the condominium complex has to be approved by FHA. So
Mm,
you Google FHA approved condo list, and
mm.
it's a .gov website. You put the county, and it tells you the list of the condos that are approved, and McAllen has zero. Like
Uh,
it's hard to get approved FHA through for condominium. So
mm.
most, I would say, 100% of the condominiums are gonna go conventional.
Okay, so then conventional, everybody, friends, listen to this. You have to apply for a conventional loan. Okay, you have to have the 10% down payment. And anything else, Anita, that they need to have?
It's preferred to have the 10% down payment because the limit to review, we check less things of the HOA. The
Okay.
insurance is usually cheaper because the insurance is walls in. So since the HOA, most of the HOA covers the buildings, you don't own kind of like the
No.
building or the land on condos. So you own the walls in. So the insurance just covers kind of your contents. Usually insurance for condos are cheaper than homes, especially here in the valley, maybe in the island because of hurricanes, not so much, but
The
here they are. So that's a good thing. You typically don't need a survey on condos because a lot of times you're on the second floor, third floor, fifth floor. So
you don't
there's
need.
there's no need for a survey. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's great. So then, Remember, okay, so insurance will be a lot less expensive, and you
Mhm,
don't need a survey, which is another $500, 450, let's say,
mhm, mhm,
savings on your closing costs.
mhm.
And what
They're
else?
usually private. They're usually all gated. They're usually, I guess, private. So you're control security. You're paying for an HOA. They usually have amenities. They usually have a swimming pool, sometimes tennis courts, media room, gathering room, party room. So a lot of them provide maybe some gyms also sometimes. Uh, Grills and outside and stuff. So they do have amenities. It's like a little community most of the time.
I have people that ask me, I mean, which one should I buy? I mean, what do you think? I mean, should I buy an HOA, or should I buy, let's say, a smaller condominium, which is four, let's say, 4 units, right? Obviously, a house is another, right? A house, I mean, as a condo, as a second home. But what would you, I mean, besides of the amenities in the pool and the community, all of that, what would you say is the best investment? A four-piece unit? I mean, not to buy them all, but I mean, buy one unit in a four-piece building, or to buy a unit in a, I don't know, 50 unit building.
So when you buy a unit in a four-piece building, for example, we see some by Nolana and Jackson,
Mhm.
purple ones and pink ones.
Yes.
Um, Sometimes they allow you to do condominium regime. So let's say the entire condominium maybe is 200 units.
Mhm.
They have the HOA for the 200. But then they allow each four to create their own regime, their own rules.
Their own rules.
When that happens, then we can treat one as FHA.
Ah,
So
okay.
you can do 3.5% down payment. And then if it's 200 units, but they're all together, then
Mhm.
that's when you have to give the 10%
In the conventional
in
loan.
the conventional.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, I guess it will be under preferences, I will say. When they ask me that question, I will say, well, how important it is for you to have a pool, for example,
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
unit. If the pool is not important because, I don't know, you like fishing, or you like to be at the beach, or it's just to rest, well, I guess the decision will be easy, right? Going to one of those 4 units, right? Don't go. Or some people want more privacy. They don't want to
Yeah.
see other people. They don't want to go through all the rules and the gate and
Mhm.
because it feels more like a resort, no? Like more like a
Yeah.
hotel.
Well, because a lot of condominiums, you don't take care of the building, the roof, the grounds, the lawn mowing, the landscaping, the gates. Basically, the condominium association takes care of everything.
Mhm.
The only thing is, it sometimes it is expensive. Like I know that there's some like are 600 a month the
Yes,
dues.
yes, I've noticed that. I have a lot of people, I mean, buyers who have not buy in certain condominiums because the HOA is ridiculously high.
Well, I had a buyer buy a condo with me last year, and I saw him, and I asked them like, how you enjoying, because they wanted a vacation home, and
Oh,
they're like, we sold it because they said that they had a lot of issues with the HOA,
HOA.
that they would not let him do anything. Like he was like, we were outside barbecuing, and they would come and say we were too loud. But he's like, it's the island. It's a Saturday. I'm enjoying my house. That's why I bought it. And so he basically said it was not what I expected. They didn't let me do stuff, so he sold it. But he said he would look for something else that's smaller, more standalone
More
instead
sense.
of, yeah.
I
So
think.
it's preference. Sometimes you want that peace and quiet, so maybe it's good to have an HOA that enforces everything. It just depends, I guess, on the borrower.
Yes, on the borrower, exactly, definitely. Okay, so then anything else, Anita, that we can add? I mean, for tips for our viewers, right, our friends that are watching this and they're thinking about investing, besides getting ready with a 10% down payment, knowing that maybe conventional, if you don't go into a standalone unit, which is the FHA, 3.5% down payment. What else do you think? Well, obviously,
The
some.
low maintenance, I would say the low maintenance is a big one for a lot of people. Some people say, I don't want to bother, or I'm not going to be close to the condo all the time. I come and go, or I may come down once a month or whatever. So then the HOA takes care of everything. If there's a leak, they'll go fix it. If there's a roof leak, they'll fix it. If the paint looks worn out, they'll paint the outside.
Yeah.
If the grass need cutting, they'll fix it. So that's an advantage a lot of times, that it's zero maintenance kind of a deal, and a lot of people want that.
Yes, definitely. Another thing is also to think, how much am I going to use it personally, or talk to the HOA rules or the loan rules, right? How long would I have to be using it personally, and how many days can I rent it? Because a lot of people, I mean, honestly, they buy it as an investment property, right? They will use it once a year, but how long do you think they have to use it? Maybe a week,
If
maybe.
you buy a primary, I would say the definition is the majority of the year, because you're gonna live there. If it's a second home, then it says a portion of the year, so maybe half half
Half.
a year. And then investment, you don't have to occupy. If you do, great. If you don't, you don't have to. You can rent it the entire year if you want to.
Okay, and also pay attention to the HOA rules, right? I mean, do they allow short-term rentals? Do they allow only long-term rentals?
Yeah, there's
Like,
restrictions and covenants.
yes.
And usually those are all private property. Usually they're recorded in the courthouse. So
Mhm.
you can always go get them, and get a copy and read them and see what the rules are.
Perfect. Well, Anna, thank you so much. We've reached our time
Thank
limit.
you.
Thank you so much for giving us all of this valuable information. And remember, the idea of these shows, I mean, After Hours Real Estate, is to give you value, to serve, not to sell, because we really want you to build equity, right? And if you success, we succeed. So
Yes.
then let us know you have any questions. We're here anytime, and send us a little message if you want us to talk about a specific, topic next Monday. We're here every Monday at 5, and see you soon, everybody. Thank you for
Thank you,
watching.
Edie.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Anna.
Edie. Bye
Thank you.
bye.